What's going on, guys? It's Drake with Extreme Sports, and today we're going to be going over regulators. We're going to be showing you which one's right for you. As you can tell, there's a wide range of regulator prices, and a lot of people don't know why, but here I am to explain the main differences between them. First of all, we're going to go over that all of Scubapro's regulators have what we call hydrostatic pressure. Water enters inside each one of these regulators, maybe at a different point, but they all enter inside of them and help assist the regulator deliver air. We have two types of regulators. We have pistons, which are these ones over here, and then we have diaphragms. So on the pistons, you have a piston, just like a car or something. Has two O-rings on them, and this is a Mark 25 right here, and this is the piston that goes inside of there. Sits about right there. Water enters inside and helps assist that spring. If you notice on some of the regulators as well, they have what's called EVO. That is that blue coating spring that's on here that helps prevent ice buildup on that spring, because there's a lot of air movement or moving through there, and air gets cold when it's moving or when it's coming out of a first stage or out of a tank, and so ice likes to build up. So that's what Scubapro designed to fix that. On the piston side, we have the Mark 21. These are our most popular sellers, by the way. There are some other ones that aren't here, but these are our most popular sellers. You have the Mark 25, the Mark 21 piston as well, and then the bulletproof Mark 2. So on this one, that hydrostatic pressure comes in through, or the water enters in here and helps assist the spring that's down inside there that you can see. The blue spring is an EVO as well. What makes the difference between the Mark 25 and the Mark 21? Well, the Mark 25 has a turret, so this bottom part swivels, and so when it's mounted to a tank, this part actually swivels and helps assist you from turning your head, pulling on some parts, and just makes it a little bit smoother. This one also has more low pressure ports than the rest of these, and that's one of the big things that makes the difference between what makes them more expensive than others. Some have more high pressure ports, more low pressure ports. Some have some better external fin designs. These help warm the regulator itself. The air is cold that's inside there. Ice likes to build up, so they have these fins that help warm up the regulator in a sense. They call them cooling fins, but they're more of a heating fin. Then you have the swiveling features, which comes on the Mark 25, and then the Mark 19, which is a diaphragm. So we will move over to the diaphragms now, and this is what a ordinary diaphragm looks like. The Mark 17 is a dual diaphragm regulator, and it is environmentally sealed. You have the Mark 17, the Mark 11, which is a single diaphragm. It is not environmentally sealed, but it is a diaphragm assisted regulator. And then you have a Mark 19. I don't have the Mark 19 here. I'll show it on screen here. But basically what it is if you took a Mark 25 and a Mark 17 and had a baby. It keeps the same turret that's on the Mark 25, but it is a dual diaphragm regulator. When it comes to diaphragm, you have a single diaphragm that sits on top. Water enters through that hydrostatic pressure. Water enters through the top of the regulator here. This little diaphragm gets pushed down, and then we have what's called a load transmitter, and there is a spring that sits on here as well, and then this converts down into and pushes down on this other diaphragm that sits about right here. And with having dual diaphragms in there, there is no water that is inside here, and therefore there is no water to freeze. So this is an awesome regulator for cold water diving. It is one of the biggest standards that we have for public safety divers. They end up using the Mark 17 EVO just because there's no water to freeze. So cold water and dirty water climates, so it is environmentally sealed, no particles are getting inside, versus the Mark 17, which is still a great budget option. We sell more of these than anything, just because it is very budget friendly, and they're easily adjustable, and they come with a couple different second stage regulators that are very popular. but that's the difference between those two. Another thing, what makes the differences between pistons and diaphragms, you have superior orifices inside a piston regulator that help airflow, so you get a lot more air out of a piston regulator. That's why you see our top of the line packages usually have these Mark 25 or even the Mark 19, which they actually compete very well. What separates the Mark 25 from the Mark 21 here, as you can see, this is what they look like. The Mark 21 has a smaller orifice inside that piston, so this is the Mark 25 one right here, and the Mark 21 is just a smaller orifice. Your air travels down that tube, as you can see inside there. And then the piston regulators are usually more expensive due to more precise tolerances in the machining process versus the diaphragms. That's why diaphragms are usually a little bit cheaper. And these are actually less expensive to maintain. Moving on to diaphragms, like I said, they are free from sustained particles. Not all of them, like the Mark 11, are environmentally sealed, but the inside actually stays clean from corrosion due to the diaphragms. So I hope this has helped you kind of select and figure out what regulator you're looking for. One thing I will suggest as well is make sure you're looking at not only the first stage but the second stage. Scubapro has paired together what second stage works best with each one of these regulators. It's just like any other factor, just like a car. When you have a specific car part, you want to make sure it works with the specific system that you have. You can throw any second stage on these first stage, but it doesn't mean you're going to get the performance that you get out of the first stage that you bought. So you don't want to take a first stage and pair it with an old 1980 second stage, because then you're just, it's basically bottlenecking what this can support. Another thing I will suggest too, make sure you're looking at what type of computer you're going to have with what type of first stage regulator you're going to have. If you have like a Mark 17, you're not going to want to put a transmitter on here directly out of the box, because as you can see, there will be interference clearance issues with your low pressure ports. So when you have a transmitter that's on here, you'll have to get adapters that space these out a little bit so you can actually use those. So look at each regulator. With some regulators you get more pressure ports than others, and that's just one thing you want to take an eye and look at it and see what's right for you, and also see what your specific company, that's why we like Scubapro, what they offer for parts for life warranties and everything. If you buy a set through Scubapro, you get parts for life. And I know people that bring in their regulators that they bought in 1968 and they still have them serviced here today. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope this has helped you out.